Well, hello friends, I'm so glad you're here. Today I thought I'd show my face, try it a little bit. I haven't shown my face in such a long time on this channel, so I thought I'd do it today. Today I'm going to be doing a fun DIY where I'm going to be taking some of my supplies that I had purchased to use for fall, and I'm going to be repurposing them for Christmas. I thought this would be a fun way to get rid of some of these supplies instead of packing them up for next year and then next year starting fresh. As a crafter, you accumulate so many things that it's good to kind of reuse some of it. So let's get started. For this DIY, I have this pumpkin harvest wishes sign, kisses and harvest wishes, and I wanted to upcycle it and make a different kind of sign with it. And I'm also going to be using a toilet plunger from Dollar Tree, just a little wooden handle. So the first thing that I'm doing is just removing this stubborn sticker. I hate these things. I've said many times. So I'm using my little handy scraper, and then I ended up using a little bit of essential oil just to rub it off. I didn't find that it worked as well as some people showed it on YouTube working, but it definitely took off the sticky stuff and made the sticker part, like the paper part, come off a little bit easier. So all in all, I would use it again. So once that was off, I let the oil dry a little bit. So while it was drying, I just started on my sign. I'm removing the little rope, and then there's like pretend lines there, so I am just using them to cut this sign into 3 sections. I'm using an X-Acto knife. I'm sure there's a simpler way of doing this, but this wasn't that hard. Once I cut it, I just gave it a little trim on each side. And you want them to be fairly straight and even, so that way the sign looks good. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see, and if you do, please make sure you hit that thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're not, I would love to have you become a part of my YouTube family. So once I had everything trimmed up and cleaned off, I am going to cut the little ends on into a triangle. I tried different shears that I had, but the knife ended up winning, and I'm just putting points to each one of these. I wanted to have them look almost like arrows. Once I had them all cut, I just took a sanding block from the dollar store and just sanded everything down a little bit. This will make the paint sit nicer on it, and their edges will be nice and smooth. And now the fun part starts. So the first coat of paint that I'm putting on will be black acrylic paint, and this is just a base coat, just kind of to make everything smooth and even for the following coat of paint. This acrylic paint is just a paint that actually a friend of mine gave it to me because she had bought a huge tub, and I've had it now for a while. So I give each one of these just one coat of black paint. So here they are all painted, and now I'm going to let them fully dry before I apply the second color of paint. And while they're drying, I'm going to move on to painting the little stick from the toilet plunger, and I'm just painting it in white acrylic paint and just one coat. And I'm gonna set that aside to dry as well. I would love to know if there are certain Christmas DIYs that you would like to see me make. Please let me know down in the comments so I can add it to my list of Christmas DIYs that I will be making in the next month and a half or so. So now it's time to apply the white acrylic paint, and this I will do in 2 coats because I did find that the first coat was still showing a little bit more black than I wanted to, but the second coat did the trick. So here it is, all nice and dry. I have went ahead and printed out some words for this sign, and I used an Alpine font to do so, and then I flipped over the page and rubbed my pencil over where I could see that the letters were or the words were. This is a great tip in case if you've never seen it in transferring the lettering. If you don't have a Cricut machine or any type of cutting machine, this is great. You could also just cut the words out and Mod Podge them on as well, but I just thought I show you another way you can do this. So now I'm going over the letters with the pen, and I'm just covering all the letters, so that way they transfer on to the boards. And I do that for all of them, and the reason why I did the rubbing is that's what makes it transfer over. You can also print it on mirror image and then just go turn it over and go with a pencil and rub it on. As you can see, some of it transferred onto my foam board that I have underneath when I was rubbing it, but it was the wrong way. Um, and then I take my water-based marker and I just go over the letters with it, so that way they actually show up much nicer. And this is such a simple way to add words to any sign. And if your writing's not necessarily, lettering's not necessarily the best looking, this will do the trick. And like I said, I did use an Alpine font. I actually downloaded an app for my MacBook that had all the Christmas fonts for free. I just searched up free Christmas fonts for Mac, and that's what popped up, and it worked really easily. And it added it to my pages. Like once I added it, then I just downloaded the font to the computer, and it added it immediately, and I could see it in my pages. I wonder if I will be able to see it in Canva as well, or maybe not in Canva, but the Cricut. I wonder if I could see them in Cricut. I will have to double check that. So once the lettering was done, I had these little Christmas wooden stickers left over from last year, and I thought it would be a great way to use them. So I just painted each of them a different color, and then I actually wiped most of the paint off, so that made it look a little bit rustic. And they were very sticky at the back. As you can see, I broke the sled, but I was able to just stick it back on, and the sticky part was very sticky, so no glue needed. And now I'm going to glue these arrows onto the stick, and then I'm also going to glue the stick in between two little pieces of wood, which will hold it in place if I want to just stand it up on a fireplace or on a floor. I think this turned out so cute, and I was able to reuse one of the signs instead of storing them for next year. Then I had some of this canvas that I was actually going to use for a DIY for fall, and there's some paint stains on it, so I thought I'm going to reuse it in a different way for Christmas. So I ended up just doing taking the canvas part off, and I'm sure you've known this, but those canvases actually have really nice frames. And I gave this frame one coat of white acrylic paint. And then last year I had picked up tons of these gift bags, and I actually saved them for this year's crafts. So I had found this fresh Christmas tree farm, and I thought this image would look so good in a frame, so I trimmed it to fit the frame. Just an FYI, when you are trimming, you want to leave yourself enough edge to go so you're able to actually glue the picture onto the frame. I ended up having to cut more pieces and just glue them to the sides so that way they would fit, because I cut it too close. Now I'm just measuring out. I will not be including the tree farm words on the because they won't fit, but that's okay. I like or farm fresh actually, because I like everything else, and I don't think I will be missing any of those letters. And I use a hot glue to glue the frame to the picture or the picture to the frame. I think this is another very, very simple DIY and a great picture or a sign to use in your Christmas decor for under $2, because really you can reuse the canvas and the bag still has the other side which has the exact same image on it, so you can get two different types of DIYs from that one gift bag. I absolutely love this. You know how much I love the red trucks or the trucks and using them in decor, and this is just right up my alley. Now I'm going to be making one more sign, and I'm reusing these two harvest signs from that I had left over, and I'm just going to remove the rope. I am going to remove the staples from the rope because I want to use this side, and I didn't want any staples in it. I won't need to remove the stickers because I will actually going to be gluing another part of a gift bag to it. So the stickers can stay, but the staples had to go. So I'm going to hot glue the sign together. I'm making sure that they're even on all the sides. And then to keep it in, to secure the glue and that joint, I am just adding one of these paint stir sticks onto it, and this will make sure that the sign stays together. And once I had that on, which I used hot glue again, I will be getting my image that I want to put on here. Actually, I am wrong. I was gluing it onto the other side. So, but needless to say, I didn't have to sand the other side. I just left it as is because I was gluing stuff to it. So the image that I'm going to be using is actually off of another gift bag. This one was a little bit bigger and it was a little bit too big for my sign, so I had to give it a trim. I actually end up trimming this right down Santa Claus Lane, completely off the sign, because like I said, it was a little bit too long, and then I just moved it up a little bit, which you will see in a minute. And then as well, I did have to end up adding that red border to it as well, so I cut that completely separate. I just think it framed it really nice, so that's why I cut that border separately instead, because if I were to leave it on there, it would have been too wide. So I just cut it without it, and then I added it after. So here is what all this cut up look, how it looks all cut up. And now I'm adding tons of Mod Podge, as you can see, to my signs just to make sure that it sticks. I do find that these gift bags don't stick as easily as paper would. I think it's just because they are a lot more heavier paper than just regular paper. So as you can see, I just moved that up a little bit. I was like just a little too, it was just a little too long, and this way I was able to include the letters just by trimming them and then just moving it up a little bit. So now I'm just going to apply Mod Podge over top of everything before I go ahead and add the border. I did struggle a little bit with the border. It just was not sticking on for me. So I did end up using a little bit of hot glue in the corners just to keep it in place while the Mod Podge worked. And once that was all finished, I applied more Mod Podge, and then once it all dried, I did give it a little bit, just a little bit of sanding around the edges, just to get rid of any excess glue or anything that I might not want to have on there. So this was yet another very, very simple sign, and I absolutely love the way it turned out. I think the sign looks really rustic, and with giving it a little bit of sanding on the sides, it made it even more rustic looking. Well, I hope you had enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. I would love it if you considered subscribing and pressing the notification bell. And if you are a returning subscriber, I want to tell you thank you so much for your continuing support. It means the world to me. So until next time, hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching.